55% ownership of planet Earth, with 35% going to the Order of the Dragon. The death of the Iranian president was all a setup to transfer control of Iran from the Chinese to the Palavicini family. All this and more as we check in with Kim for today's World Situation Report. Now here's Kimberly Gogan with the Office of the Guardian. Hey, Kim.
Good Monday morning. I had to remember what day it is. How are you, Miss Sunny?
I'm good. Had a good weekend. Got out with the family. Went and checked out some animals in nature. And I don't know, just kind of had a relaxing time. I always feel bad saying that because I know you didn't have that kind of a weekend. But I'm sure we're going to get updated on.
There'll come a day when I have that kind of a weekend.
Yeah.
No, I had some meetings over the weekend. They started on Friday, as you know, and not really ready to talk about them yet. Let's just say they were about care and moving forward and that kind of thing. So all positive things. Okay. Like I said, for us, don't get me wrong, we do need to know what's going on in the world right now, so that we can make changes in our lives if necessary, and also to dispel any kind of fear and rumors and those kind of things. But my focus and my attention has been on moving things forward and being 100% prepared to move them forward in very short order.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean we don't have crazy people doing crazy things. There's all kinds of rumors going around. So let's just kind of set those rumors straight and tell you what's going on.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with something that is on everyone's lips right now. It's circulating throughout the Patriot communities, Q communities, about what's going on in Iran right now. As you know, I'm sure you've heard, unless you've been hiding in nature all weekend, that there was an alleged helicopter crash, which killed the Iranian president and some members of his staff.
Yeah.
What is to come in the near future, this is according to mainstream news, is that Khamenei, which is the imam of the Shias and in charge of the Shias, is that he is going to select an interim president that will serve for 50 days until an election can be had to select another president. And of course, everywhere is a selection, and Iran is no exception.
Right.
But let me tell you about this alleged helicopter crash. Now, during the time of the alleged crash, they said the weather was bad, therefore they couldn't actually locate the helicopter. Mm-hmm. They tried to locate the helicopter allegedly by air, and then when they were unsuccessful due to fog and bad weather, which there was some bad weather, then they had tried to locate it up by ground and sent some ambulances to where they believe the crash occurred. Now, this was so haphazard. Whoever was running this show, clearly it's their first day, because first they could find them, then they couldn't find them, and then so-and-so was on board, and then they're not on board, and we're not sure who's on board, and who's on first, what's on second. And it was this game they played, for several days over the weekend, or a couple days over the weekend, I should say. And finally they made a decision that they found the plane, and that the president had passed away within the last several hours. I mean, it's been within the last 24 hours they made this decision.
Right.
Now, the president of Iran is not dead. Neither are his staff. They were located this morning in Belize. And I'm sure they're enjoying the weather and the beaches there. It's beautiful there if you haven't been to Belize. And awaiting further instructions. They'll probably get a new life and all that comes with it, just like they did with Hitler and other folks. But there's a reason behind this all happening now.
Okay.
So we have also talked about the fact that Khamenei and Iran has been heavily controlled by the Order of the Dragon. Matter of fact, the head of the Order of the Green Dragon is actually Khamenei. So he's been kind of put in charge over a lot of the affairs on behalf of the Rothschilds' Order of the Dragon and Chinese Order of the Dragon for quite some time now. Now, we did talk about the fact that the real Khomeini is dead. We've talked about it several times, but that, Iran is no different than the U.S., where we just walk heads of state around with a mask on and call it a day. He has tripped up a few times with other heads of state in the region, not being able to confirm events that have happened in the past between heads of state privately, like whether it be a fishing trip or some other type of event that did not happen in the news that took place privately, which is no surprise that, not all masked men know all the answers to all the questions. And the president also was on board with this plan. Now, for the last couple of years, Iran and China have built a very strong relationship due to the fact that there was a plan, as you know, to transfer the world's power center over to China or to BRICS or whatever they called it, and to crash and burn the United States. Okay. So under this plan, China had full control, or the Li family of China, the Order of the Dragon, Golden Dragon, had full control over the country of Iran. In all of the sanctions you see and the fight between Israel and Iran is just one hand fighting with the other hand to achieve an ultimate outcome of control over the Middle East. Mm-hmm. Well, China has been going through a lot of problems lately. They do not have the money to complete this plan successfully. They are basically full-on bankrupt. And therefore, there was a little deal made within the last several days. And the deal that was made was that China would receive $5.5 trillion for the Order of the Dragon to give up control over Iran. And this is what the operatives came up with. So first, it was supposed to be the president, which, done. Mm-hmm. The next allocated payment is allegedly due on Friday to China to give up full control. So if this had actually happened, or does actually happen, which it won't, because these people are crazy, then China would receive $5.5 trillion, and that would get them out of debt and get them back into at least a stable state. And then Khomeini would be the next to die, and there would be another person put in control as the imam of the Shias. Okay. Well, the parties putting this forward is a group known as, and we've talked about them before, the Pahlavisini family, or whatever's left of them. The guy that's currently running it is fairly young. I don't even know if this guy's 40 years old. If so, then he's right about 40. And for the families, that's a pretty young age, which means that somebody got all excited with themselves being a member of this family and decided it's time for them to now take over and step up. So here's the deal that they made. And this is really bad. So they did get a hold of, with China, they ordered the Order of the Black Dragon to find the old Mayo system keys to Omega. Mm-hmm. Now, she had been given by probably Satan himself or somebody down there, Lilith, somebody, these master keys, which would then allow her to control a lot of different systems. And as Omega pretty much has faded away, it gave very limited control and limited access to things in order for them, the Pahlavisini family, to then try to take back control over all world systems. Mm-hmm. But they didn't know that. Now, over the course of the last several days, they have made $75.42 trillion in promises to various countries. That's a lot of money around the world.
Wow.
Now, that would include Russia, South Africa, and we'll talk about why here in just a few moments. The only country that was not slated to get any money is the United States. However, $56 billion was promised to Langley 5 U.S. operatives and some other SSP people, including the Q crew and the Trump operatives, to allow the United States to burn to the ground.
Gosh.
Oh, yes. Now, if you do happen to follow the Q crew, you'll notice that they mentioned 24 hours before it happened, they put out there, Iran is out, Egypt is in, with some weird coded messages like they normally do, and then this happens the following day, which tells me that the Q crew and the Trump operatives and Team Trump agreed to take the money.
Wow. There's your white hats.
Yeah, awfully white. Yes, yeah. They are. Not so much so. Maybe like a color of caca brown or something, yeah. Is what I'm thinking. And so, they were all proud of themselves that this happened over there, and of course in defense of Israel and all of this, but allowing the U.S. to just burn into the ground so that it could be rebuilt up, of course, with themselves at the helm. And their egos are so large, they believe that they are the chosen ones. Remember? Mm-hmm. So that they would love to be in charge of the United States. The management crew of the United States, because we all know governments don't actually run countries. It's always done behind the scenes. So the deal that was made on a higher level, between the Pallavicini family and the Order of the Dragon was the Pallavicini family, in exchange for the codes, the Mayo codes, and of course them executing on a long overdue plan, which was put forth by Marduk, that they would be 65% owners of planet Earth. And I know, lofty goals, for a weekend. What are you doing on Saturday? Well, I'm trying to take 65% control of planet Earth. And, hey, by the way, yeah. And 35% control would go to the Order of the Dragon, so they were not excluded, which is why China probably got some money. I'm sure there was money promised to the UK and a few other places while they go through this global restructuring. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a check the Pallavicini family will never be able to cash in this lifetime or the next one. They'll never fulfill that promise of $75.42 trillion or euro, whichever country, they're dispersing money to, because I know that because they'll never get enough financial control to be able to issue anything ever. So, now let's talk about the plan. What they were planning on doing, because this is important for the entire world to hear on how flawed of a model this actually is. So Marduk developed a plan to take over the world, which Marduk already ran the world, but this is for the little humans, to maintain control. And on the surface, it actually sounds like somewhat of a good idea because it's a more... there wouldn't be one power center of Earth. There would be 7.
Yeah, we've talked about
it. And I've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. So there would be 7 Bank for International Settlements around the world. There would be 7 World Trade Organizations, IMF, United Nations. So there would be 7 different locations in the world where these organizations would exist, of course, under one umbrella, which would have then been controlled 65% by the Pallavicini families et al. And 35% by the Order of the Dragon. Now, originally, it was going to be all the Order of the Dragon because it's more than just a financial separation. It would be also military control, intelligence control, of the planet. Now, do they have the ability to execute on this plan? Well, no, because they believe that since Marduk implemented this plan or gave the orders years ago for this plan to happen, that he would have installed some kind of backup system to make it happen. But that is not the case. So for the last couple of days, they've been running around with Marduk's old keys that he left behind. They've been running around with mayo keys and trying to access every single system they could possibly access, which is good for us because all these things needed to go. Anything that hadn't been activated in a long time, because the people or the non-people have not been here, is now all coming to the surface, and we're seeing, the stuff, so we can clear it out of the way. So it works out good for us. But the locations in the world that were going to control various parts of the world were, of course, namely China. China would control all from India on east. And it would be like the entire Asian sector. Russia would be in charge of all of Europe, Eastern and Western Europe. These are the promises. The entire African continent would be controlled by South Africa, and the entire South American continent would be controlled by Brazil. Now, as far as the United States is concerned, the entire North American continent would belong to the United States. In order to achieve this task, based on the fact that all commodities are traded in U.S. dollars and these types of things, there would have to be a huge crash that would take place first in order to implement different currencies. Yeah. So in the Middle East, they have promised varying countries varying degrees of control. In the beginning, it was actually going to be the Gulf. It's the GCC. So, and with Saudi Arabia at the helm. Then it was promised to Iraq when they started issuing the new Iraqi dinar and the revaluation to control all of the Middle East. And now it appears that that place is going to be Iran. If you do not know, the former Shah of Iran was actually a Pahlavisini. So, yeah, so they're talking, there's actually some chatter about that. Maybe they just want to install a new Shah, kind of take the religion out of it because, maybe install Satan as their, whatever, who knows. But, yes, so that is the chatter now at the moment. So they haven't really kind of found anyone to control the Middle East, but they prefer it to be Iran. So that's why you're seeing all this turmoil there now. And then, of course, the United Kingdom over the Commonwealth nations and, as they currently are, or they think they are, and the monarchy system. So, of which they would then, Chucky would die of cancer or whatever he's ailing from these days, and then William would be installed as the new head of the region.
Even though he doesn't want it? Because we've talked about that before. He doesn't want to have anything to do with that.
It doesn't matter what he wants. It matters what they want. They would like to have that. So either that or they'll just kill him and replace him with a masked person. They have no shame. Yeah. So 7 different currencies would then be the base currencies for the world, and those base currencies would then control the entire planet Earth, backed by a centralized currency, namely either the IMF SDR, or they would choose gold if they had any access to it, or one of these types of things. This was the plan that has been around for, at least that I am aware of, 7 decades. Okay. This was where they were planning on going. And so that is actually the reason why we saw what we saw in Iran, which was the beginning of the execution on the plan. Now, as far as the Q crew and the Trump humpers and all those people, they believe that they are going to be the controlling party over the North American faction of the plan. That was what was offered to them, that they would be the managers, not the owners, of course, because that's already been divided up. but they would make a lot of money as power brokers for that region, the North American continent of planet Earth.
Yeah.
Pretty lofty goals there.
But you said they don't have the money to be able to do this. So what was the game plan? They have to know they don't have the funds to fulfill the promises.
Best I can tell is they managed to weasel out of the Order of the Dragon Marduk Master Keys, which the Order of the Dragon already knew didn't work. But, of course, they didn't tell them that when they were getting their negotiating for their 35%.
Of course.
And then, of course, they managed to go find the Mayo old keys, which both of them had to do with Omega control, although Marduk had some limited, they believed, control over Alpha as well. But remember, his only access was through the parents and the two blonde twins we call Cassandra. It wasn't him, it was them, and they're gone now. Right. So those keys were never going to work for Alpha anyway. But like I said, limited knowledge is dangerous, and that this is of no surprise to me. So they have been running around. I have literally been up since 10 minutes to 1 last night. I slept for a couple hours, but because they have been going like gangbusters, and it started yesterday or last night. Now, the reason why they started last night, and I know you're in a total state of shock, but there is a full moon coming up in 3 days. 3 days before, they always start something new. I have no idea if the flower moon means anything to these people. Who knows? But they believe that the world becomes ripe for global domination sometime within a full moon. And that would be the end of a system, and then therefore the installation of a new system. Mm-hmm. They're even talking about a banking crash and stock market crashes around the world in order to effectuate a change. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand, wanting to divide the financial system into 7 sectors, based on continents and all of that, because it's a number that they could still control. 7 currencies, to control the entire world. And then, of course, you would have managers of each country like we have now in each subsector of the 7 sectors. And it's the same thing that was promised to whatever the heck is playing the part of Putin these days. And he's going to be the hero of all of Europe. And he's great with that, And this is actually, I remember Marduk having this conversation with Putin way back in 2013, 2014. That's how long I have personally been aware of this plan. Yeah. And he was going to be the savior of all of Europe. I distinctly remember this. We were having an argument over Rusland is what the argument was. And they agreed to dump me off in Germany and have me run a part of the Western sector over there. And I'm like, I don't even want to run anything. I mean, I'm confused as to why, but you got to throw your hat in the ring to see what they would say. Yeah. But still, they would want me controlled. So anyway, I'm aware of the plan. I'm aware that Marduk never put out a plan he did not have the final key to. And just because these people think that they have his key doesn't mean they have his plan as well. So, again, another flawed model. We might see some more disruptions over the next couple of days as they go through all of their keys and discover that none of them work. And eternally grateful for that, Pallavicini family. Thank you so much for helping me find the last few things I couldn't find out there. So you're saving me a ton of time in making sure that humanity takes over the world themselves, and you just are out. So short meetings, and not short. It was quite, lengthy over a couple of days. But, I still managed to do my job. They didn't think I'd be able to have meetings with people and work at the same time. Again, you are wrong. I can do many things all at the same time and still, still manage to, make sure that you will fail.
So when this next payment, Kim, I don't know how much money it would be worth, but from the Pallavicini family, when is that Is there a next payment that's due sometime soon to keep this plan of theirs running?
That's right. The new payment date for $75.42 trillion is on Friday.
This Friday. Okay.
Yes. Coincidentally, as you know, if you are Islamic or Muslim, then you know that Friday is a non-working day. Saturday is a non-working day, Friday night to Saturday in their world. That's kind of like, we all, most Christian people is Sunday, work on Sunday. There's a Saturday. So I'm sure that is why they picked that day. I am sure of it. Is it some special day, in the Muslim world? I don't know. I don't think so. I think the next special day is sometime in June. But nonetheless, this is kind of what's been going on over the weekend. On our side of it, we have made a lot of progress because we've actually managed to take Tier 1 bank operating systems and merge those operating systems with the global repository operating systems over the weekend. So this is a positive move. While we were waiting for them to make their next one, we decided to, continue our move forward. Right. So what that means is that customer accounts that are in banks worldwide are now falling underneath the repository. So we've been working for the last 24 hours on Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 banks, making sure that we have the same exact operating system. So when we transfer money out of the repository now, it's not a transfer from the repository per se. It's from the repository in the subsector of the bank in which the account is actually located. So if you bank, for example, at Wells Fargo, it will show, your project name, a company name, XYZ Inc., and then it will show Global Repository Wells Fargo account.
Okay.
So we're now making our master accounts in different banks around the world for ease of transfer. It's taken our time of transfer down from like 20 to 40 minutes-ish. Sometimes it's gone up to an hour when they've been pushing to block us. But now we're starting to hit the customer section. I mean, we still have a few little problems in the customer section that we're sorting out because it has more to do with internet and compliance and other things. But it's taken it down to like approximately 10 minutes to make it all the way through the system, which is huge, which tells me that we are doing well. And like I said, I see things progressing faster and faster, and this is good because it appears that everything else is going to come along at the same time. Hence the meetings with the CARE, some people and stuff like that this weekend to kind of get our ducks in a row so that we would be able to move forward quickly because these people are doing a bang up job on helping us. So if you happen to run into any members of the Pallavicini family, you need to thank them. Thank them for their service to humanity. I'm just kidding. They're horrible people. But anyway, so one of the first programs they got a hold of, and I might as well tell you about it. One of the first programs they got a hold of was this program that could manipulate dark matter, dark energy, these types of things, but it could also alter the fabric of reality. So some of the things that of people, and they targeted specific people, I believe, last night, some symptoms and stuff that they were experiencing were pretty bad. I mean, it hit like every nerve in their body and amplified it. So like even a wind would hurt. Wow. Oh yeah, they're lovely folks. So we now have that. They don't have any access to that anymore. So it's kind of turned off and that kind of thing. But I'd sure I've got a key intelligence and military system too, folks. And actually, I actually have footage of them in the key intelligence and military system to where I can actually identify them all now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
what is like the general mood out there right now, Kim? Because you keep taking away their systems. Are they frustrated? Are they hopeful that this other plan with the Paladin Sea?
They're going the distance, Sonny. They're going the distance, They are working really, really hard in this final battle. They don't consider it a battle. They consider it, they have new shoes and they're going to take them out for a spin. But honestly, no, I don't think it's going to go real well for them, but they'll probably exhaust themselves within the next couple of days, 24, 48 hours. But until then, or there's nothing left.
Yeah.
But we'll see, they have tried so far hacking, Control and Command, which didn't go well for them. They tried hacking the master backdoor, well, it's not backdoor, master base platform system for all international financial transfers worldwide. There is also a network out there where, we have internet and we pay for internet services, but there's a peer-to-peer thing that's appeared. It begins with a G. I think it's called Grape or something like that, to where people have been selling their bandwidth they have not used to a second user. I'm not sure in totality how it works, but there was some money in there. They tried to get a hold of that. Mainly for them, they've been attacking anything that has any kind of what they believe money in it, like in mass. I mean, $75 trillion is a large bill.
Yes,
so, oh yeah, and they've got 4.5 days to do it. So,
wow.
Yeah. So by Friday, you can probably stick a fork in these people, but they will stay alive as long as they are still locating additional things that need to go away. Additional control systems. Once they've located the last control system, they will all be dead.
Yeah.
So sorry to say, but that's what's going to happen, along with their deep state Order of the Dragon partners. Sometimes you just got to leave the carrot out there long enough, and it took us a couple of days to locate everybody involved in this fantastic plan. But remember, no Marduk, no final key, no plan, no change of currencies, no. So, but God bless the operatives, too, that took the $56 billion in payouts.
What horrible people. Honest to God. Like, so egotistical. I can't even fathom that whole thing. Being like, just crash the whole country. It's fine as long as we get to rule it when it comes back on whatever level it comes back. I mean, who are these people?
The thing that irritates me the most is there are a lot of good people in the U.S. that are true patriots. They truly love the country, that kind of thing. And there are patriots all over the world that love their respective countries. But here in the U.S., they've got quite a crew of people that are really counting on turning the country around, making it all happen. Some of these folks that took this money get on alternative media and they talk like they're patriots and Trump is coming back and all that kind of stuff. And the Q crew, be patriots, be patriots. We told you this was going to happen in Iran, all this kind of stuff. But in reality, you're just bad people. You're ducking. You're ducking kidding me, right? You're duckers. You have become duckers. Duck Dynasty people, duckers. That's who you are. And just the misleading of the people, giving them hope where there is no hope, and it's not, meanwhile, behind everybody's back, you're sitting there agreeing to burn the United States to the ground in short order by next month. That's their plan. And I don't know why June 13th is a special day for these people, but it really is. They call it the Juneteenth or something now? Is that the 13th?
I think that's the 16th.
Oh, the 16th. Okay. Well, I don't know why they like June 13th so much, but they do. I remember, if you've been following me for a long time, it used to be the day that they thought that I would concede would be June 13th. And therefore they would, I would go through, I call it 2 weeks of hell week, like you have in fraternities and that kind of stuff, because it was just everything that could go wrong would go wrong for 2 weeks. Now, I haven't had that in the last year or so. Maybe they're incapable at this point. Yeah. But I mean, everything would just go wrong. And, it really didn't make a difference. Maybe they gave up. It's been since I think they started the 2 weeks for me program back in 2012. So probably after 10 years of doing it, maybe they just gave up.
They probably don't even know why June 13th. They read it somewhere. They don't even know it might be related to you. They're like, oh, let's pick this date. Why not?
Probably not. But do you remember, I think you were here at that time when they were having this whole conversation once around that time, and they put their flags down. Remember, everybody said, put your flags down, and they panicked. It was because they found out that the date that people saw in Looking Glass was actually June 13th, 2012. That I would have conceded.
Whoops.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
We've got to look at the year.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Well, and it's become apparent, too, over the last couple of days that, I remember I've talked a lot about the fact if I drop $1, that means they lost.
Yeah.
Well, they had actually, when you get down to the level of people that are still existing and breathing and walking this planet right now, they told them that, according to Project Looking Glass, that I never would. This is the second lie about me, because just like they lied about June 13th, they're also lying about the drop $1, because they knew I would eventually do it. They just didn't want them to stop running like chickens. Yeah. With their heads cut off, is what they look like to me. So that's the second lie. And we will prove that that is the case. And the clock is ticking. Right. But, this has actually proven to be a bonus for us, because it just takes out more people that could do us harm in the future, especially as it relates to infrastructure and development in the Middle East area. These people would never let that happen. Their buddies and their pals who are working with them on this plan, the Orsinis, would be in control of the United States. So, the anti-silent circle, or whatever you call them, are still on the warpath. But and I know people are going to say, well, I thought they were gone. Well, yeah, now we're dealing with a bunch of 30 to 40-year-olds. Which would be abnormal for families to have someone of that age in control. Sure. Most of these people are at least 2 to 3 decades older, by the time you get into a seat of control. So they're just going down the line. And the male ego is a tough thing. And I'm sorry to say, it's not that I'm against men. I love men. Don't get me wrong. But it's an ego, and it's not even male ego, because I see just as many females with the same issue, I should say. But the ego is a terrible thing. And these people grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth, being promised great power as they grow up, and that's what they think they're going to do. Yeah. So, yep. I highly doubt that is going to be the case.
No, but it's like they can't see any other outcome. Like you said, that's ingrained in their brain. This is how they were brought up. No other alternative,
Yep. Well, God bless them, because they need it. May God bless them the way they've blessed others. Yeah. And I hope the Iranian president is enjoying his Belize vacation. If you guys don't know, Belize is one of the most beautiful places in the world for diving.
I've dove in Belize before. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Have you?
I have.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah. So maybe they'll do a little diving or something, Any other suggestions you have for the Iranian president in Belize? What you could do? Things to do in Belize, Sunny, since you went there diving?
Oh, it was a long time ago, but it's just so frustrating that they just keep lying to the public over and over again. I mean, they've always done it. We're just more aware of the lies now, but it makes me so mad that they keep doing this, and then there's people, just believe whatever's on their TV. The moment I saw that helicopter crash, I'm like, he wasn't in that. No way. Give me a break.
I know. But at least you now have that. Your eyes are wide open, and so are most of the people that are watching this. Your eyes are wide open. You want to know what really is going on. So now you know. But it's kind of like any other relationship you would have, whether it's a friendship or even a family member or, a love relationship. If that person is continuously lying to you, are you going to continue to listen? Are you going to stay in that relationship? Are you going to walk away? And, I think it's time for people, and I know it's hard, right? But, it's time for people just decide to walk away, and they will once there is something else that actually doesn't lie, that actually follows through on everything they say they're going to do. And that your word is the only thing these people can't take away from you. Mm-hmm. And they've given theirs up 100 times over in my book, from watching everything they're doing. So I'm sure they're having a hackorama while I'm here doing the news, and actually I'm not sure. I'm 100% sure they are. That's what they're doing right now. So I might have a little bit of a mess to clean up, but that's okay.
Yeah.
God bless them.
I know. Well, I guess we'll leave you to it.
I know.
Exactly. I know.
We're going to do one of those swap things, like all those movies like Freaky Friday and all that. We're going to do one of those for a weekend once in a while, and I'll go hang out with your kids. We'll go to the park and walk in nature. And you can do this all weekend.
Instructions, though, on what to do, because I'd be like, what? I don't want to touch anything. I'm going to mess something up. I need details.
I'd probably be doing the same thing with their kids. I'd probably be like, okay, Kim, keep the kids alive. Sonny's going to kill you if she makes a mistake.
What do I do? It's been a while.
I'll probably try to feed them things they'll never eat. They'll probably be like, my mom doesn't make me eat that.
Oh, my God. That'd be funny.
They'll probably run away from me. No, I'm just kidding. My daughter will vouch for me. I have a reference. Okay. You're okay.
Well, that's good. That's good.
All right, Sunny. Well, that's the World Situation Report for today. Hopefully we'll have some more news as this progresses over the next 48 hours. And all good things are happening on our side of it. Not concerned about it at all. It's just another lie, and hopefully they won't kill anybody in the process. They seem to be very focused on quantum AI systems. So that's good.
All right. Well, we will see you back here on Wednesday then.
Sounds great.
Okay. Bye.
Want to share news from UNN? Help us change the face of social media and use it for good. Connect with us through our online channels. Our social media team creates clips from each news